Hey everyone, I'm David Room. We're gonna have probably kind of a short stream tonight, an extra chill stream. It's pretty late here, but I just still wanted to get a little bit of work done on the project today. We're gonna do a little bit of refactoring of the simulator UI, and I thought this would be a good way maybe to kind of integrate some of the stuff that we've been doing with moons and planets and stuff into the actual game, start fleshing out some of the settings a little bit better, fix some problems with the simulator mode. We'll see how far we get, but I'm not ready to go to bed yet, so it's gonna be just a chill refactor time. If anybody's watching, I'd love to hear about what you might be working on, or if you have any creative projects that you're working on instead of going to bed on this Saturday evening, early Sunday morning. Let me just quick share on Twitter that I'm live, and then we'll get started. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. So, and we're listening to White Bat audio as usual here. So yeah, just a little reminder here of what the simulator mode looks like. Let me just, I think, yeah, we want this to be true. And so we have this simulator mode, and the idea is this is supposed to be kind of like a fast action kind of mode where you could choose different settings and different ships and stuff, and then launch. I think at one point this worked, but we've since kind of updated the interface for launching a new mission, and we also have the new planets and moons and things. So I was thinking it would be kind of fun to nail down a couple of these settings. Like, we have these different engagement zones. I don't know if they really make sense. But yeah, and then there's going to be some little bugs and glitches like this that we've got to work through as well. But yeah, let's just get started with this here. So I've been refactoring things towards a style where we have pure record types for classes, rather than having these things with constructors and all this stuff. Just kind of nailing things down, and as long as we're going to be working on the simulator, I want to get that into this mode. So let's do that here. Okay. Nice. Jupiter BJY is here. He says, oh, another stream. Nice. Yeah. I'm just trying to get into the habit of doing this more often. Like if I'm going to sit down and work on my project, I might as well stream. I also feel like I need a little bit more data about when people are actually around, like if there are better days to try to stream. I just haven't done it consistently enough over a number of days of the week to be able to know. And I suspect it doesn't really matter. But that's okay. Let's see here. What is this thing? This I think is just this whole simulator UI is kind of a mess. I wasn't sure if I was going to work on the project tonight, but this kind of thing is like super relaxing. So should be very low stress. And, you know, for something like this, people might wonder, you know, why are you actually just doing this by hand? Why not use AI or whatever? I think, you know, this project, I'm not really using AI to write code because I like writing code. And I want to understand the code that I'm writing. And refactoring something like this that you haven't looked at for a year or two is a nice way to remind yourself of how it works. So let's see here. Jupiter BJY says, listening to key typing while having breakfast is quite soothing experience. And yeah, nowadays utilize LLMs as advanced search engine for code base. I don't want to read, but not code. Yeah, I use LLMs to actually write code a lot in my job, but a lot of what I spend time writing is like stuff that it doesn't really matter, like the code quality doesn't matter too much, and my job is very busy. So I think they do act like kind of a force multiplier. For my personal projects, though, I mean, the whole point is doing it yourself. I mean, there's no reason for this project to exist other than just being something for my own enjoyment. And I think, you know, I'm warming a little bit to the idea of using LLMs for some sort of like game project I might experiment with, but, you know, it's not super high on my priority list at this point. So LLMs are extremely useful as I like to think of them as like hyper search. You know, if you can get stuff into the context, they can aggregate that stuff like crazy. And Jupiter BJY says, my take is exceptional search engine that can search even logics, which, however, requires users' validation, just like Googling is. Yeah, exactly. And I think the reason that LLMs work so well for software is that, like, you know, by nature, there are a lot of different ways that you can validate that the software that you're trying to generate with them works. And, you know, this is sometimes a source of skepticism about LLMs for people. But on the whole, like, especially the really good models I've found, they're kind of to the point where they don't hallucinate a lot. And it's actually kind of cool. You know, I do a lot of 3D computer vision, machine learning in my work. And I've done some pretty advanced stuff with Opus 4.7. And it's like, it definitely, it has blind spots, like in terms of spatial reasoning. And, you know, certainly if there's things about what you're trying to do that you don't explain to it, it won't be able to just guess. So it's not like it is, you know, it's not like a programming god. But if you are willing to if you're willing to reason with it and interact with it and go back and forth with it, it's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful stuff. So okay. I think we're ready to wire this up here. So Jupiter BJY says, but impressive tool regardless. Too many people are using it excessively, believing it can do actual logical thinking and trusting it blindly. Yeah, it definitely can do a lot, but especially if you're doing something complicated. And I'm fortunate to have a job where I think what I'm doing is kind of something that's complicated and worthwhile. You know, it can't just do it. It is really good though at you know, accelerating some pretty complicated things, and that's fun. I feel like, you know, for a long time it's like you always have a lot of ideas and there's not time to implement them, especially things like visualizations and demos and things like that, and it, you know, really makes it easier to implement things like that, to be able to show your work, you know, in ways that were hard to do before. But yeah, you can't just trust it blindly. Okay, let's just see if this runs. Nope. Ankit is here. He says morning. Okay, cool. So that that refactor into sort of the record type worked. Let's now try to fix the simulator launch. So Ankit wonders, how much progress have you done after that orbit and planet size shrinking thing? So if you're talking about last night, I haven't made any progress since then. I've been working on other stuff during the day. If you were on the other day, I think it's mainly some little tweaks and things. So this is just kind of a little bit of a detour, something easy to work on before I go to sleep here. And yeah, let's just try to launch and see where we go wrong here. Actually, I think I can go back one. Yeah. Okay, so apps is missing. Now I think this is actually correct. Let's actually add the arg names here. Okay, so Jupiter BJY says, all right, I was curious how your lead shot calculation handles gravity. Does it only factor in gravity vector shooter? That's a good question. It does not consider gravity at all. And it should, well, I think it's one of those things where I'm not sure how much gravity is gonna matter. Probably we can kind of assume that the entity that's firing and the target are both orbiting the same planet, so it's not gonna. I don't think the gravity will matter too much. But that's a good point. I actually hadn't thought of that at all. And something else that I did actually fix is I did fix the collision thing. So I found the heuristic that I was using that I wasn't including the reference point in. And when I fixed that, then the collisions around the station started working a lot better. So if we get a little farther, we'll see that. We'll see that tonight. We should actually figure out how to set up affiliations properly here. And we can do that with the factions in our simulator menu. So let's try to do that. Is that actually literally just yeah, it is just a string, so that's good. Now let's see here. I just want to double check one thing. X equals friendly with itself. Yeah, okay. So we do have to set up both directions. Wait, is it config? Oh, nice. Okay, so that's actually a config thing. This is that heuristic that I was talking about, actually. Nice. So Jupiter BJY says, after stream yesterday, I opened my stalled project and let small LLM to find fault in ballistics. It found 2 coefficient signs were inverted. Felt real stupid. I never found it out myself. Yeah, so I am trying to not really do a lot of like, I don't really want LLMs to write code too much in my project, but I have used it for debugging. Sometimes after I've beat my head up against the wall, just paste a function in and say, what's the bug here? And it is pretty useful for that. I used it a little bit on some of the on some of the orbital mechanics stuff I'm doing. There's a function that converts from like an orbital state to orbital elements, and I never found like a nice example that's sort of exactly in the form that I want, but Gemini was pretty helpful for finding some different issues with that, and that actually was the problem that I thought was a bug the other time that we were that I was streaming. Had a couple of orbital states that should have had produced the same like orbit, but it wasn't. And I thought it was some kind of bug, but it actually wasn't a bug. It was just a singularity in the calculation that needed to be handled. Okay. Now let's fix a couple things here. So that is working now. Where am I building those ships? Okay, cool. Well, that is working. Let's review this logic and see if there are some nice ways we can refactor this, clean it up, work towards this actually working like it should. Yeah, Jupiter BJY says that was a good bounce, unlike yesterday. Actually, just let me see if mission 1 is working properly. I can show you. So we are doing the orbits and everything here. So, whoops. here. Yeah. Oh, that was funny. What happened there? Let's whew. Something crazy is happening. Wow. That's really funny. What is going on? Yeah, it kind of looked like it was. Let's see. That is crazy. Is the I gotta see if the other if the other one is broken too. I wonder if it's that change I just made. Yeah, let's wow. All right, this will be fun one to debug. So I just well, no, it shouldn't be this. What happened? Oh man. It's not, yeah, it's not this. Whew, wow. Oh, I know what's going on. Oh man. The classic unary operator that actually updates. Classic case of the code doing what you told it to do, not what you wanted it to do. Okay, so yeah, so we should see things bounce properly now. It's still a little bit fidgety, and this guy still kind of launches himself out of bounds sometimes. But yeah, overall it's gonna be working better than it did before. We'll see if I can kind of hide in here and if he does something goofy. Probably the reason he's a little bit bouncy is I'm not sure I tuned his moment of inertia properly yet. But also, ships the behavior trees just need to be a lot more careful than they are about hitting things. Because that kind of collision should just absolutely wreck you. But it is kind of cool to see, and the way it looks is, I think, is really cool. There's one of the space battles from yeah, he's bouncing all over the place. One of the space battles from The Expanse. There's a space battle around a circular station, and it's really cool how the ships kind of like move and drift around the structure of the station. And I'm hoping to kind of do something like, I'd like to see that kind of thing happen in the game. I mean, for the most part, I don't think like maneuvering around structures is going to be a big part of the game, but it should be something that you should be able to try to do if you want to, because it just looks really cool. Yeah, the ring station where they fight the stealth ship, that's exactly right. I have not watched the show, but I've watched all of the space battles, and they're so cool. A huge inspiration for my stuff. And we're getting to the point where it's like it's starting to have that look. Oh yeah, see here, he hit pretty hard, and the heuristics, the collision correction heuristics, threw him off there really fast. But okay, so yeah, let's continue refactoring the simulator code here a little bit, see if we can't fix this up so we can get start getting some of the simulator stuff working a little bit better. And let's actually tweak some of our zones too. So I think where are those? This is going to be Venus. And let's just add another one. Oh, nice. Let's see if that actually fixes that. That was yeah, that should not be there. That should be, let's see here. Shift pause. Let's see. It's too late at night to do arithmetic to figure out where these windows should go. But probably 0, 0, 0 is going to be... Nope, it's not going to be better. Let's do 0, 0. Wrong direction. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, cool. Now, it's certainly going to be const. Where are... What is this supposed to be? This... Const, just const actions. GC. Something is off here. Okay. That's all right. Called says do a list comprehension right now. Yeah, we're writing very C++ like Python right now, so we're indexing into things and doing things that we shouldn't do. Let's try to figure out what's going on with this. So let's see here. So yeah, I think that's a good spot in general for the we could move it over to the side a little bit, but no. Okay, yeah, there's just something straight up wrong about how we're doing this. Let's see. I think that index thing is wrong because we shouldn't have these single letter keywords here. Oh yeah. this isn't the right thing at all, is it? Factions. gc.faction.factions. Factions, and this is the master list here, so okay. Now let's see if something that we should handle properly here is if we don't have symbols to just not show a symbol instead of crashing. Okay, Jupiter BJY says that station CQC reminded me as my project is closer to Children of a Dead Earth tech than expanse. Engagement range is over a few kilometers and slow. I stalled project. I couldn't find a way to make it fun. Yeah, that's something that I'm worried about a little bit. I think my ideas about sort of these kind of like very powerful drives, high thrust, and shields, I think will allow combat to be closer. I have kind of a silly idea too, which I'm not sure if is going to actually pan out to make the game fun. And on one level, I don't really care because this is it. I mean, this is a game, but it's serving a bigger purpose than like being fun. But a genre of game that I actually really like a lot is Souls-likes, and I don't have a lot of time to play them anymore, but a couple of years ago I played through a lot of Dark Souls 3, and I've played through most of Bloodborne. And what's fun about those games is they're like punishingly hard, but it's easy to retry, and when you finally kind of figure out how to do the right dance, it feels really cool. So I'm kind of wondering if a space combat game like this couldn't work sort of like a Souls-like, where, you know, things happen very fast, and if you don't hit it just right, you die. But it's also very easy to try again, right? So I'm kind of wondering if that might be a way that more realistic, you know, for whatever that's worth. More realistic space combat might be possible. Let me see. Color is action symbol. Okay. All of this stuff is just so, man, I can just barely remember writing this. Okay, but I think what we want here is we want to be able to just do an empty one here. So just for now, actually we could even do a little text box here. So if actually make the text. Pretty sure text, yeah, text no path. Let's see. Do I share? This is going to require font info. That should be okay though. Let's just patch this in quick. Hopefully this will lead me to the area. There we go. This does, yeah, this updates elements. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, that works okay for now. It's just not showing anything. That's fine. Okay. And like this stuff should all work. Actually choosing the zones doesn't work, but yeah, they don't have their livery, so that's the other thing, is like getting the actual livery selection in there. But okay, we're just gonna glance over this a little bit more, and then it's getting pretty late, so I'm gonna be wrapping up soon. But I basically did what I wanted to do here, which is do this refactor into sort of a pure record type. Yeah, no, this is the big one that I really want to break up somehow. And we've got some different we've got some different things going on here, so we've got to like get different. We can split all of this up. Okay, what are we missing here? Oh. This is not hard to deal with. So we just got to do Jupiter BJY says, came back after some chores. What are you working on right now? I'm just refactoring the code that sort of builds the ships, given the squadron lists and the faction settings. It was like this giant function, a lot of hard code stuff. Just moving towards getting that less hard coded. No real differences in behavior, just cleaning things up. I have these imports to kind of try to avoid circular imports and you know, just being able to split those up so that we have the things that we need in certain spots and not in other spots. Okay, cool. Why don't we actually don't even need that. That we already have the name. Seems like that should be working. I don't know why that's spazzing out. Let's actually, why don't we give the ships some behavior trees so that when we start this scenario, they actually start fighting. Because we have the affiliations and everything, right? So they should okay, so yeah, here we need the apps, which I don't have yet. Let's see, this is good. See, there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to import stay here, right? State.appsmap. Let's build the apps up here. I need to... Oh no, that's, yeah, that's just where I'm bringing new ships in. Let's see here. Do I need to do that where I'm... Yeah. I don't think I need to do that. Okay. Jupiter BJY says, oh, speaking of a behavior tree, what's your, in your game representation that's passed to behavior tree? So right now it's just like the affiliations. So like, so it knows like whether like which factions are enemies, so it can target properly. And then it uses a blackboard, which is probably not the best, but it holds different things like the main entity list. But that should be set up for all of the ships automatically for the ones that start at the beginning of the mission. So yeah, I think this should be fine, and I think this should be fine. Let's yeah, let's see if this works. Yep. But we don't want to do this for the player. So if UID is not equal to 0, yeah, light show. Boom. Cool. Let's see here. Is there anything else? I have functions that I built that I don't want to use look up right now, but I can sort of do some of these things that lay out the ships in wings and stuff nicer. And then there's sort of like the per faction, per ship livery thing, which I've got to figure out, but some of that's more of like a constant thing than a refactoring or programming, not a constant thing, a content thing. So yeah, like I could map the different factions to different liveries and stuff like that. But yeah, this is starting to look sort of functional now. And of course there's like the different faction symbols that are missing here, but like overall this is looking really good. Let's see here. Let me just see, does this work like I think it would? Yeah, so then I could go, if I want a different ship, I could go in like this. This is unknown, that's funny. Let's get rid of this guy. And I need to add an option here for none to like remove it. Because right now you can't, I don't think you can remove a ship that you've added. But Yeah, and then we can select different skyboxes and stuff based on the engagement zones. Nice. Cool. I'm wondering if there's some quick things I could do here too. Because livery, I can tell for that specific type if the livery is found, or if the livery exists, and I could just sort of choose a default one if it doesn't. So I could do something like this. Non-prefix. I could say if rename not in LV get name. Actually, just be like this, right? And let's see here. Let me just go. Yeah. Oh, we've got to do this. That's fine. So that did exactly what we want. And now the big ships can duke it out while we hide. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. Let's actually... yeah, let's just actually get something set up here. As long as we are in the thick of this, let's get something set up with... with something that maps factions to livery. So, and the prefix isn't as important, but we'll just get a few of the main ones that we'll be testing in there. And so I should have sort of silver ships, and the enemy should have red. Yeah. Sweet. Well, that was an easy little fix. Let's do the let's do a prefix map here too quick. And after this, we'll call it good for the night. Well, our music ran out. I think we're going to take that as a sign that we should be done here, but yep. And let's just check this once more. If we change our faction, so like if we change our faction to yep, we've got different colored ships. Nice. Cool. All right. Well, we did actually a lot here on getting this simulator mode much more towards something real. Yeah. So we're going to call it a day. I've got to get to sleep so I can wake up for church tomorrow. I hope everybody has a good night. Is having a good weekend. Thanks again for hanging out. It's always good to talk to everybody. And have a good evening.